In this video, we have been given this polynomial x to the power of 6 minus x to the power of 3 equals to 2, and we shall have to find the value of x. First of all, we can bring 2 to the left hand side, so this will become x to the power of 6 minus x to the power of 3, and then minus 2 equaling to 0. And we also know that 6 is the same as 3 times 2. Therefore, x to the power of 6 can be written as x to the power of 3 times 2, which can also be written as x to the power of 3 raised to the power of 2. Therefore, this will become x to the power of 3 raised to the power of 2, and then minus x to the power of 3 minus 2 equaling to 0. And at this point, we can let x to the power of 3 to be equal to any variable, let's say m. So this will become m to the power of 2, and then minus m minus 2 equaling to 0. And as you can see, we have a quadratic equation. To solve this, we need to find two numbers that add up to -1 and multiply to -2. We know that 2 and 1 are both multiples of 2. -2 times 1 will give us -2, and -2 plus 1 will give us -1. Therefore, our factors will be -2 and +1. So our equation will become m to the power of 2 minus 2m, and then plus m minus 2 equaling to 0. Now for the first part, you can see that m is a common factor, so let's pull it out. We shall have m into m minus 2, and then plus. Now for the second part, let's pull out +1, and we shall remain with m minus 2, and this will be equal to 0. And once again, m minus 2 is a common factor. If we pull it out, we shall have m minus 2 into, for the first part we shall remain with m, and for the second part we shall remain with 1, and this is equal to 0. If we equate m minus 2 to be equal to 0, our first value of m will be equal to +2. And if we equate m plus 1 to be equal to 0, our second value of m will be equal to -1. But if you remember, we had set m to be equal to x to the power of 3. Now when x to the power of 3 is equal to 2, we can take the cube root on both sides. On the left hand side, these will cancel, and we shall remain with x equaling to the cube root of 2. Now what if we set x to the power of 3 to be equal to -1? Now this is the tricky part, because most people would take the cube root on both sides, because we know that the cube root of -1 is -1. So most people would take the cube root on both sides and get x to be equal to -1. But this is wrong. And the reason as to why it's wrong is because you will be missing out the complex values of x. Therefore, what we need to do is bring -1 on the left hand side. So we shall have x to the power of 3 and then plus 1 equaling to 0. And if you recall, if we have, let's say, a to the power of 3 plus 1, this is the same as a plus 1 times a to the power of 2 minus a, and then plus 1. Therefore, x to the power of 3 plus 1 will become x plus 1, and then times x to the power of 2 minus x plus 1, and this will be equal to 0. And if we set x plus 1 to be equal to 0, x will be equal to -1. And now if we set x to the power of 2 minus x and then plus 1 to be equal to 0, what would be the values of x? We have a quadratic equation in the form of a x to the power of 2 plus bx and then plus c equaling to 0. And in this case, our a is 1, b is -1 and c is +1. And to solve this, we shall use the quadratic formula. We know that x will be equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b to the power of 2 minus 4sc divided by 2a. Therefore, x will be equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of -1 to the power of 2 minus 4 times 1 and then times 1 divided by 2 times 1. And if you simplify this, you will get x equaling to +1 plus or minus the square root of -3 divided by 2. Now, square root of -3 can be written as the square root of -1 times 3, which is also equal to the square root of -1 times the square root of 3. Therefore, x will be equal to +1 plus or minus the square root of -1 times the square root of 3 divided by 2. And from complex numbers, we know that the square root of -1 is equal to I. Therefore, x will be equal to 1 plus or minus square root of 3 times I divided by 2. Therefore, our four values of x will be x equals to the cube root of 2, x equals to -1, x equals to 1 plus the square root of 3 times I divided by 2, and also x equals to 1 minus the square root of 3 times I divided by 2. Therefore, that's how you can solve such an equation. If you have found this video helpful, don't forget to like it and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.